My name is Trent. I'm the Healing Hermit. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I practice energy healing. And today, as you can tell from this title, I'm sad today. And being sad is okay. It's a normal part of being a human. It can be triggered by so many things. And there's lots to be sad about in this world. And for me, even when I get into a sad state, it's easy to think of all those reasons. And it gets worse. I think it is important for us to have the time to acknowledge our feelings, to sit with them, to process them. But for me, that can easily turn into a kind of rumination and wallowing in the pain rather than actually processing the pain. And that becomes its own painful journey. It stretches the sadness out through space and time. And so, I think, as many therapists will tell you, or if you know anything about cognitive behavioral therapy, is that these emotions aren't isolated events. They are often in a triangle of action, thought, and emotion, and emotions can influence thoughts and actions. Actions can influence emotions and thoughts, and so on and so forth. But in the core of the triangle is usually a self-belief, some limiting self-belief when it comes to negative emotions and thoughts and actions. And for me, at least in this moment, a lot of the action is inaction, or maybe not in this time period of my life, but I can tend to look back in time and see the inaction, which is an action, and that causes thoughts and emotions that can be sad. In this moment, it's more to do with comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. And there's a loneliness that can also compound that feeling. And I think it's easy for me to slip into wanting to run away from these feelings by getting on a dating app or reaching out or just doing some action that ultimately usually doesn't really feel satisfying in the end. Not to say that action isn't good. It can be. But I see for me in this moment is that the lesson, I suppose, that I am to learn and I can share with you is you have one life. You have one body. You have yourself for this lifetime. And that comes with all the faults. It comes with all the mistakes. It comes with our particular versions of suffering, psychological, physical, or otherwise, that we have our lot that we are dealt. And the only person that will be there this whole lifetime is you, for you. There is that saying, nobody can die for you, so why would you let them live for you? That is close to the lesson, but seems the lesson is only your life can be lived by you, and you can't live anyone else's. So there's no point in comparing. The best thing to do is to simply direct your own life to where you want it to go, to steer it as best you can in the direction towards happiness, to drop away any habits or choices, patterns that keep you in a self-definition that makes you not like yourself. Or work in reverse order. You work on how you feel about yourself so that you can change your self-definition and make different choices. Arguably, both are needed. You need to make choices on the outside to prove that you can be different to yourself on the inside, and you need to work on the inside without relying entirely on external validation or cues that you are different or better. It's difficult. So, it's also important to state the obvious sometimes, and that is even the most successful or beautiful or talented or smart people can and do suffer. That there is a life, an inner life for all of us that is never free or purely free of all negative experiences. Some of us might be better at denying it or hiding it. Some of us might have more experiences of suffering than others, but nobody is exempt from it. Nobody gets an out. And so it's important, I think, to remind ourselves that those we may compare ourselves to, well, we're comparing ourselves to a projection. We can only see what we see on the surface. So, this Reiki session is going to be more general, even though it's specific for me. I often sit down and just let Reiki work on me, and I thought, a little vulnerability on my part might go a long way. If I can sit down and meet this heavy emotion inside myself using Reiki, using energy healing, maybe we can heal together. So, as odd as it sounds, I'd love to have your sadness here with me. We can not necessarily commiserate, because we're not going to be talking about our problems through the ether, through the screen, but we can be together throughout space and time, through the screen, past, present, or future. It's the blessing of these videos, is they are there. So, Usually, when I sit with an emotional state to heal, it's a more unmoving session, so I don't move as much. But you never know what will come up or what will happen. So, thank you for being here with me. I already feel some energy coming through. It's very loving and supportive. So, we'll get started. Your job for this time is to sit back and relax and let yourself be sad. Sad is an umbrella term. An umbrella word can be any number of words: despair, distraught, grieving, numb, broken, lost, heartbroken. Any word that resonates with you, but sad is the umbrella term. So this is Reiki for being sad. We'll begin now. thank you. If you feel like this video helped you in any way, please like the video, subscribe if you feel called to, and let me know your experience below. I always love to hear it. You can click off now, or you can stick around to hear my thoughts on the session myself. So, for me, the first part of the session was, like I said, how important it is to acknowledge our feelings. That was the beginning of it. And really stopping the mind from spiraling around it and going right to the eye of the storm, so to speak, where the core of the pain sits, but it's also more raw. But in its rawness, it's quite unspoken. And because it's unspoken, it's really quite silent, even if it is quite full of things that need to be said. It nonetheless is wordless. And so I was encouraged by the energy to really just feel into where the sadness was in my body. And after a while, it stilled, and I was able to almost rest in the sadness, and it was peaceful. And the sadness didn't necessarily leave, but it just existed in a different framework. Because the next thing that happened was I saw how the body and the mind can take on a posture of sadness, so that even when other emotions try to come through, like happiness, because the whole posture is in sadness mode, it seems like sadness is the primary emotion. So it kind of overrides the other ones. And I saw my shoulders relax. I felt the muscles in my torso relax. And I felt this posture of sadness fall away. And I let the pure sadness remain. And that allowed for a little bit of love and warmth to creep in. It was like self-acceptance in a way. And then I, throughout, felt the warmth on my hands, which is my sign that Reiki is working. And sometimes that feeling alone just allows me to let go and kind of trust. And so that was relaxing in and of itself. And then I saw how clearly it's not just a felt sense here, but it actually extended into my head. Like I felt sadness in my brain, in my head space even. And so my attention kind of explored there, and there was this nice experience of wherever I put my attention on the pain, it was like Reiki sent waves of calm and relief and love that was so gentle and so subtle that it was just gentle enough to bring back to this still place. And it felt like, just like the body could have a posture of sadness, that this mind, what's the good word for it? It's like a mindset almost, but it's like a mind posture of sadness. And how, I guess you could call it when you're just down on yourself. You're in this mental state that is heavy and morose and foggy and cloudy, and yeah, it felt like the Reiki was addressing both this depth of emotional uh, depth depth of emotional energy, and also the complexities of the mental energy, and just simplifying it. And near the end, I felt myself, um, it was like the energy shifted gears, and it went from self acceptance and space and acknowledgement, and almost like building up a support system within, like this foundation, and of just like still, open, accepted feeling. And then the energy came through, and it's actually still coming as I'm talking. I feel my hands are really warm. So it's still doing its work. But I felt encouragement, this energy of like, okay, it's time to get back up. And I felt it trying to do that for me and lift me back up, and it did. For a moment, I felt like on this wave of, that's nice. But it did, I could see that my body just wasn't really over the sadness yet. And I had a vision of me after a funeral, and just everyone, let's say like at dinner after the funeral, where life just keeps going and there are dishes to clean and nobody really wants to talk. We just finished eating, and it felt like the energy was showing me you can't just skip from sadness to happiness, that there is a gradient that happens. And almost like weather has transitions, it doesn't always just burn away the clouds in 1 second and there's sunshine. There's clouds drift away, they slowly burn away, you know, it moves on, but in time. And it felt like this hug of acceptance that you are sad, to feel the support. And that's what it ended with, was I felt so much loving support, like as if the energy was saying, like a friend would, I'm here for you. I'm here when you need me. I'm here to hear you. I'm here to see you. And when you're ready, we can get back up. We can be a little more lively. We can have a little more action. The vision kind of continued from, you know, after doing the dishes, you start your life again. You know, after this loss, life moves on, and we have to just take those baby steps. And for me, it just showed me eating a banana, you know, getting potassium in my system, and going for a walk in the sun. And you know, these things don't fix sadness, but they are the transition period. They are, in a way, it's like taking care of yourself in the meantime, as the emotion passes through. There was a moment when I felt all that support and all of that acceptance, that there was a sense of relief and a bit of happiness, a bit of okayness at least. And I think the greatest gift this session gave me was I just don't feel like I'm going to spiral with it. I feel like I'm okay, you know? I can't even really say I'm sad anymore. It's more neutral, just okay. And not joyful, but okay. I think that's what the energy was showing is you don't need to skip from sad to happy. You can go from sad to just okay. And then from just okay, you can move into a little more okay. And then from there, even more into more than okay. So now I just feel gratitude that I got to do this session and offer it with you guys on the other end. And I'm excited to see how you guys feel about it. Thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable here and allowing me the chance to heal with you. Thank you.